Hey guys, it's Jen and Kelly. Welcome to Her Book of Job, the podcast.
Today's episode is episode 1. I'm Kelly and I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about In the Name of Love. What's the craziest thing you've ever done for love? So stick around. You guys don't want to miss this.
I want to love like me thinking of you, thinking of me type love, or me telling my friends more than I've ever admitted to myself about how I feel about you type love, or hating how jealous you are, but loving how much you want me all to yourself type love. Check this. I kind of feel comfortable. So now I even fantasize about walking out on a green light, just dying to get hit by a car, just so I could lose my memory, get transported to some third world country, just to get treated, then somehow meet up with you again so I can fall in love with you in a different language and see if it still feels the same type love. This type love, Shahan.
Woo! Fire! Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I love that poem so much. It's like all the stuff hopeless romantics want to hear, right?
Exactly. I remember the first time I heard this poem, I was just like, wow, I wish a man could just write that about me. And then, okay, disclaimer here, or what is it? Not disclaimer, when you're about to ruin something for someone,
Uh-huh.
what is it called? Spoiler.
You're talking spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
spoiler alert. So at the end of the poem, he reveals that he actually wrote the poem about his wife and that he actually had found that type of love. And I was just like, wow, that's reaching that type of love would be something amazing in this lifetime.
Absolutely. So what made you want to start off episode 1 of Her Book of Job with this poem, This Type Love by Shahan?
I think we all love, right? And especially as a hopeless romantic, or should I say hopeful romantic? I just thought it's just something sweet to talk about at this point in time. Especially with what we got going on in the world right now. We all need some love. You feel me?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm dying to know, Jen, what's the craziest thing you have done for love? Ooh, this is going to be good.
I really liked this guy, and I had mad love for him. I gotta say that, right? So booked a Greyhound ticket, 3 days on a Greyhound, to see this guy. And it was scary. It took forever. I felt afraid to like fall asleep just because like at times like we would be like in the middle of nowhere and stuff like that. And yeah, I got there and I got to the place and I professed my love, and it wasn't accepted. but
Oh my God.
but girl, I just that let the record show that I actually, I did something grandiose.
So you mean to tell me you took a 3-day bus ride to get to a guy?
Yeah, girl.
Oh my God, Jen! That's next level. That's like Hollywood movie type thing, right?
Food was limited those 3 days. Sleep was limited. Like I literally went into like sleep deprivation and starvation for a man.
That's next level. But you know what? I feel like the world needs more people who are willing to go all out, who are willing to put themselves out there. Like the thing nowadays is everybody's just pretending like they don't need anyone, or pretending like, they don't have these desires for love and connection and relationships. They're like, I'm gonna do me. Oh, whatever. People don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to be vulnerable, right? And so, I mean, it's hard to use your story as an example because you put yourself out there and it didn't work out. But my point is that you did put yourself out there, and it is in doing that you make yourself open
Mhm.
for love. That you allow the opportunity to be there. And I feel like you're way better off than the person who closes themselves off the whole time, and now they never even have a chance at true, deep amazing, beautiful love like how you talked about in that poem.
Right, right. And I think at the base, everyone kind of longs for that connection with someone in this life. And I think I definitely have to agree with you there that taking these chances and um showing lots of love and just putting yourself out there is definitely the way to go, because like I've heard this before, like love is not gonna reach you at your front door. You have to go out there and you have to try. And yeah, even though in my case I did not end up with the guy, it's still something that I look back on and I'm like, wow, Jindai, like you actually you actually did that. And to be honest, I think that's just the type of person I am. And it it helps with eliminating that fear of rejection. Like when you've been rejected in that sense, it either puts you in a position where you want to do it again or you don't. And I think for me, it just so happened that I would actually do something grand again, because the worst you can get is a no. Not everyone's going to say no to your grand
Yeah.
gestures, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what courage looks like. This is what bravery looks like. I mean, you are like a superhero, Jen. You mean to tell me that you went through that and you came out of it saying, I'm still going to love. I'm still going to open myself up. I'm still going to put myself out there again. And to me, that's what usually happens where people get rejected. And instead of doing what you said happened with you, where you're like, you know what, I'm not going to allow this to make me continue to fear rejection or to change who I am. I'm going to still be that person that does these grandiose romantic gestures.
For sure. What does Aaliyah say? Dust yourself off and try again.
Yes, yes. So I might be able to top yours. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll let the listeners decide who has the craziest thing they did for love story.
I can't wait.
So the craziest thing I've ever done for love is be in a long distance relationship for over a decade.
Yo, you blew me out of the water. We don't need a vote.
Ain't nothing wrong with your speakers. You heard what I said.
But did you marry him though? Did you marry him?
Girls, don't be giving no spoilers. That's for another episode.
Okay,
You know,
okay, I got you.
that's for another episode. Y'all need to stay tuned to figure out how that worked out. But girl, starting from what, 15? Yikes.
Whoa.
Now that's pretty crazy.
That's a
That is
marathon, my
crazy.
girl.
Yeah, no, seriously, right? I mean, to like stick it in and just deal with maybe seeing that person, especially in the early years, seeing them once a year,
Bruh.
maybe twice if I'm lucky.
Mm,
Like that's kind of how that went. So I feel like that's the craziest thing hands down that I've ever done is be a teenager and decide I'm gonna be with this guy long distance, and our relationship is basically talking on the phone for 2 hours a day or something like that.
oh my word. What do you attribute to it working at like such a young age?
To be honest, I mean, I think what we're getting at here is that love is just this really powerful force that can move people to do impossible things.
Mm.
And to me, if it's love and if it's real and if it's true and if you're a little bit crazy, then it'll work. Like you have to be a little crazy to love. Because I remember hearing this quote one time, and I'm not even sure if it was a quote. It was really just someone who was speaking. I was at a small group my freshman year in college, and I just remember it resonated with me and I wrote it down. And the guy who was leading the small group, he said something along the lines of that love is not rational. It don't make sense, people. What Jendai did, what I did, it does not make sense. And love does not always make sense. And I feel like that's what's mysterious and beautiful and gorgeous about it. That's why we're so attracted to it. It goes
Right.
beyond, our reasoning capacity. Sometimes it's like you're just so moved. And don't get me wrong, y'all. I'm not talking about just emotions. I'm talking about when you care for someone so deeply that you are willing to sacrifice.
You talking about that Savior died on the cross type love.
Yes, girl. Yes, yes.
It don't make no sense, but he did it and we're here.
Yo, I love Andy Mineo. He's a Christian hip hop artist. And he has this verse where he says, "Where have you heard a story where the hero dies for the villain?"
Yo.
It doesn't make sense. So obviously the craziest thing God has ever done for love is hang up on a cross for stuff he never did.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For people who are going to reject him and he knows it, right?
Right. Honestly,
Dang.
Clarissa, that never gets old for me. It's the most grandiose gesture ever.
Conversation went real deep real quick, bro. I guess that's what happens when you start talking about love. You're talking about love and you even touch God. We just got real deep. Flip side, like, do you feel like romantic comedies help or hurt when it comes to, people like us who are hopeful romantics? Do you think that they are putting out a really skewed version of what love is, or what's your take on that? Because I love rom-coms. I want to know what you think about it.
Sometimes I get wrapped up in the various things that I see in romantic comedies. So if I see a man build a whole house for the love of his life, or someone dying for their partner, like you see in Titanic, then I wonder if there's some elements of truth in those things, and what those ideas would be in real life. So in real life, I feel like maybe your man wouldn't build you a house, but maybe he'd buy you a house. I think just because of the way I process things, I make those things that happen in romantic comedies more realistic. So I think of what could be the realistic version of that thing, and I think it's very possible. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it can hurt people's perception of love.
Girl, I'm the exact opposite. Give me the fantasy. I'm going to stay in the fantasy. I'm not going to add no realistic nothing to it. I want that. I want that exact story. I want to get caught in the rain and have a fight in the rain, and you tell me it was never over. Like, I want the whole nine. Like, write me a letter every day for 365 days. You feel me?
That would be amazing. The way you explained it, I think that is actually like the beautiful thing about romantic comedies, is because for a moment you get to have this kind of out of body experience where everything is kind of just perfect. Girl meets guy, girl falls in love with guy, guy falls in love with girl. And then you go through like a rough period, but it always works out in the end, no matter how tragic, if you think about it. And I remember one time you said this to me, Calissa, that type of love that makes you jump onto a sinking ship. That's the type of love that you want or that you envision, right?
Let me put a little disclaimer, okay? Because my husband, it's not that he is definitely the romantic type, but he's the rational and reasonable type. So just using that Titanic story right there, every single time we watch something like that, where the girl is doing something crazy because she loves the guy, or there's like this one last kiss they have to do before she runs away from the zombies, or she's like, no, I can't leave you type of thing. He always stops and looks at me and goes, don't you dare. I remember one time, I think we were watching Titanic. He just stopped the movie, just looked at me and was like, if you even think of ever doing something that ridiculous.
It's like, girl, this ain't a movie. This is real life.
Exactly. So he's not about that. But I guess I feel like there is a danger when we ladies, I'm speaking for myself now for sure, where you get so caught up in the feeling that the rom-com gives you. It can almost be like a drug where you're chasing that high in real life. And that's kind of an unfair expectation because, you have award-winning writers writing the most romantic lines. You've got this movie score that's got you in your feelings. You know what I'm saying? So it's playing on your emotions in a way that just real life will never really be able to completely match that.
Right.
So I feel like, we got to also be careful not to be chasing something that may not be realistic, because maybe your guy doesn't always say those things in the way you want to hear it, like in the movie. But maybe he shows you love in different ways, maybe he's consistent with throwing the trash out, or he goes to that job even though he doesn't like it, but he's bringing that money home, or whatever it is that he's doing to show you love. We don't always have to box expressions of love into those big romantic gestures.
Right.
Sometimes it's that small everyday stuff. I'm here every day. Doesn't that show you that I love you?
If you know your man, just he has your back and he's on your team. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You work together and you know he's on your team, and you don't have to doubt that he has ulterior motives, or just the things that would terminate a relationship for sure.
Ah, talking about trust there.
What do you think Job has to say about this topic?
Yo, there's this verse, and it probably is hands down my favorite Bible verse in the book of Job, like my favorite verse in Job, and it's in Job 13, verse 15. It says, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him.
Mm,
Or though he slay me, yet will I trust in him." Man, that's like next level faith right there. That's next level love. That's next level trust. It's one thing for you to be like, yo, I love God when everything in my life is going good. And I worship him and I praise him when I get all the answers to my prayers.
mm,
It's another level when you say, "Oh, I'm gonna praise and trust God when he's even if he says no. I'm gonna trust him even when he doesn't give me what I want."
mm.
Job passes even that. Job is like, "Yo, even when you are the one giving me pain, even when my hurt and the trials, the troubles I'm going through are actually coming from you, I'm still gonna trust you."
Oh my word.
You talk about crazy things you do for love.
That
Job is like, even when you are the one that is taking away things from me, I'm still going to trust you. I'm still going to hope in you. I'm still going to love you. I'm not going anywhere.
that is so deep. Earlier, we were speaking a little bit about, the greatest thing or the craziest thing Jesus has done for us. And
Right.
here we're seeing with Job, it's the flip side. It's on our end, what we can do to show our love, to show our faith and our connection to God. And I think that is so interesting how we just drew both sides of that scenario. This is my question. Do you have what it takes to have that faith, that love, that trust that Job had towards God? Or what do you think, what level do you need to get to even have those thoughts?
Well, I feel like everything we're talking about today is connected. And that crazy type love, in the poem, the stuff we see in the rom-coms, our stories, you don't start there. I feel like you get there by growing your relationship. And whether this is your relationship and your love for God, or your relationship or your love for your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse, I feel like it's something that grows. The things that I would do for my spouse now, it's not how it was when we first started dating. I feel like even with Job, he had to get there. He was not there at the beginning. I think it's a slow grind, it's a slow burning, and it's like you said earlier, taking that time every single day to do the small things,
Mm,
spending time together, and actually listening, talking. And I mean, the same thing is true in our relationship with God, taking time to pray daily, taking time to read your word daily. It's doing those small things that can allow the love to blossom into something ferocious, you know?
yeah. I think that you definitely have to reach like a different place in your relationship with God to be able to say, even if things aren't really working out the way I want them to right now, I still trust you, I still love you. And it's definitely a work in progress for sure. And I like how you explained it. It's like a slow burn. It's something that you build up to, and definitely something that could be done on a daily basis through reading His Word and through connecting.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, Jen, Jen,
Hmm.
did we just do that? Did we just do episode one?
Whoop whoop.
Episode one was fire. So y'all already know. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and follow. Go ahead and like all that stuff. All that stuff. Go ahead and
Mhm.
share it because you already know we gonna come with that heat this season.
That was an amazing conversation, Calissa. I love talking to you. It's always a pleasure. I hope you guys have enjoyed this first episode. All we would ask you guys to do is just to go over to Instagram and look for her book of Job. For this episode, we'll have a little posting there for this episode, which is called In the Name of Love. And underneath, we just want you guys to answer what is the craziest thing you have done for love? And what are some tips on growing a deeper relationship with God so that you could have that crazy type love for God?
I cannot wait to read your stories, your responses. I can't wait to connect with you. If you enjoyed this, please let us know. Don't just keep it to yourself. Don't just be like, oh, that was nice. And then not let us know. I don't know about Jen, but I'm a words of affirmation person. So you need to tell me when I did a good job. Well, we can't wait to just spend this season with you, just sharing our stories, sharing our struggles. Just like Job, we might have lost some things, we might have gone through some things, but we're still here, we're still standing. So join us on this journey this season. Bye.